Like, I love me a buffet. And that's disgusting. Okay, yes. I wanted to preface first by saying I'm awful at book recommendations. Like, don't ever ask me for a book rec because I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. So why would I recommend something to you? Even to like the general lay person. I think I like fiction in the way that like I'll eat anything. Like if you ask me out to like dinner or something and you ask me like what I want to eat, I'll literally say anything. Like if I could, we'd go to 3 different dinners. We do, you know, small plates, and then like we can do upscale and like have tiny plates and then go to McDonald's after, or we can do the McDonald's and then feel so bad for ourselves that we need to get a vegetable and then like go to a fancy place and get like a, you know, something that feels wholesome. Like anything, buffet. Like I love me a buffet. And that's disgusting. So most of these choices will be from my list. I have my own literary canon on Goodreads, a list of 52 books to get to know me. 52 books, a book a week that have made incredible impressions on my life as a reader, writer, person, lousy human being, and fucked up teenager, all of the above, just all of me in those books. So, without further ado, is that the expression? Without further ado? Okay, anyway, here we go. You ready? Number 1, a book you tell people is your favorite. Bonjour Tristesse by Françoise Sagan. She wrote it when she was like 16, 18. She flunked the Sorbonne and then she wrote this little fun novel. And yeah, I ate it up as a kid, and reading it at 16, I was like, I want to be her. I want to write books, drive fast cars, hang out with people like James Dean and Truman Capote, and just live the fab life. She was sort of the French Eve Babbitts, just like cool girl writer. That's who she was, and pretty much wrote books that were all about the same thing, about affairs, being a woman, and sad. And it was just so lavish, everything that she lived and wrote with such incredible and immense prose. I need to do a rereading of it, but I have revisited the film a few times. I don't think the film is that great, but it's set like somewhere on the coast of France, and it's lovely. I think it's set in Nice. Has always created a huge impression on me. Number 2, a book that is your guilty pleasure. Honestly, why should you feel guilty about your pleasures? If it pleasures you, then you're content. Why must you feel guilty about your own contentment? So that's gonna be a major pass, because I don't have guilty pleasures. I mean, I feel like I used to. I used to feel like so much shame about the things that I liked, but I'm very much like, I love the highbrow, I love the lowbrow. I love me, you know, Steinbeck as much as I like Emily Henry. I'll try Colleen Hoover, why not? But, you know, there's just a bunch of things to get through, and there's a priority list, that's all. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. Fuck that. Feel good about what you like. Yeah, no more feeling guilty. Fuck that. Guilt eats you up and turns you to a monster, and that's something you can totally skip. Like, fuck that. Okay, number 3, a book everyone loved but you didn't. Probably gonna get a lot of hate on this one, but it's The Idiot by Elif Batuman. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was such a clunky and awkward novel. Definitely way too long, and sure works in the realm of like autofiction for Batuman, but it just like dragged for me. And I thought it was I didn't love it. I loved, is it Celine. I love her as like my younger sister, perhaps, but like, did I enjoy the novel as a whole? It was aight. It was aight. I did, though, enjoy Either Or a lot more. I think you see, you know, the little sister grow up, but she's a lot more funny, and there's a lot more wit and speed to it that I appreciated more than in The Idiot. Good cover, though. That big old rock with a pink backdrop with The Idiot is good. That sells. Marketing, whoever created the design for that, y'all smart. Okay, number 4, a book you read the fastest. I've kept this book for so long, and I guess it's time to talk about it. I'll let the good people know. It's I Look Divine by Christopher Coe. It's not in print anymore, so good luck trying to find it. Have fun paying like 50 bucks for the copy, and it's like a slim like 90, 120 pages or so. But yeah, I read that, I think, in an afternoon, and it just did something to me. I read it at a very impressionable age, and just changed the trajectory for me in terms of what prose can do, and how desire can be led by prose, or prose can lead desire. And it's just such a beautiful, swift book about brotherhood, love, intimacy, and there's such tenderness in it that I never have experienced again quite like that. Don't quote me on that, though. There'll be another book that I'll talk about that sort of exists in the same realm, but very, very important book to me, and was surprised to have found it. If you look on Melissa Broder's Instagram, she has like a highlights of her like favorite books or something, and it's in there. Yeah, just a really beautiful, tiny little book that means a lot to me. And now you know about it. Okay, you're welcome. There you go. Number 5, a book that deserves more hype. I see y'all. You're joining the Lispector cult, which I appreciate. Thank you. Welcome to the cult. Welcome to Lispectorism. It's a good place to be. But y'all forgetting about The Passion According to GH. Like, y'all are doing The Apprenticeship or The Hour of the Star and sort of the safe ones. Get to the cockroach. Get to the cockroach. The Passion According to GH. I believe it's getting a film adaptation soon, either the end of this year or next. And I might do a rereading of it soon. Just need to get my hands on a copy, but y'all should do that one. That one's just like quintessential Lispector. I'd read it somewhere in my early 20s. And I believe it was my first Lispector. So like reading it like totally boggled my mind. Thank you to my TA CW400 for the rec. She was brilliant. Loved her. Frizzy hair, big thick glasses, would just like go on tangents about feelings and being a woman. And she was reading Lispector, and I was like, ooh, what is that? I've not seen that. And yeah, I picked it up, and yeah. But yes, let's get to the cockroach, y'all. The Passion According to GH, Lispector. A book that is becoming a movie, TV... I just talked about it. The Passion According to GH. Yeah, super excited to see how that will be adapted. Like, seeing any Lispector book be adapted, that's like major. Like, how do you do that visually, given that most of her books are like so incredibly cerebral and internal, and most of the magic occurs internally? So very curious to see how all that's done. A book you reread the most. Oh, I have it. I forget. And it's really dusty. So that probably doesn't prove that I reread it enough, but I do an annual rereading of Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. You get Catholicism, siblingship, and just the complications of family dynamics, hierarchies, something I reference a lot, given that I love Salinger and how real the dialogue is at all times. The Glass family just is so, so real. And if I'm ever focusing on dialogue as research, I pick up this or a play, but usually it's this, given that it feels almost like a stage play, but it works as a complete novella, in a way. I reread this too much that I feel like I need to pick up Raise High the Roof Beam Carpenters just to mix things up. But yeah, I do a rereading of this usually around November, Christmas, when I miss my family and I never come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Franny and Zoe, J.D. Salinger. Number 8, a book from a genre you don't typically read. You know, I should read more graphic novels. I don't, but I should, because they're good. One that made an incredible impression on me is Blankets by Craig Thompson. I think it's the greatest book about heartbreak ever. Like, if you're going through a breakup, like, please go read this and you'll be even more of a wreck. Because it's truly heartbreaking. Like, I've never read anything that just encapsulates the very feeling of what it means for your heart to break into a million pieces. Like, if anyone's on their first love and you're like reeling from it, this is, you'll cry. You'll have a good cry for like a long while. But yes, Blankets, Craig Thompson. The artwork is just gorgeous as well. When I read this, like tears, I like teared up on the pages and they blurred and I ruined these pretty images. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Number 9, a book that deserves all the hype it gets. A recent read, adding it to the literary canon of Nathan's Nook, but it's The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante. I think this is just such an incredible foray into Ferrante. See what I did there? And it's just so good in that it's so dramatic, over the top, yet has this very strong literary fiction element to it. And that's what makes Ferrante, I think, a very skilled writer. And this is her debut, right? Which kind of astounds me because it's just so, so good. But it's about a woman reeling from her husband cheating on her, and everything goes to shit. And she goes wild, and it's hot. It's like the peak of summer, and she just thinks about the reworking of her entire life. This is going into the canon. I had such a blast with this. And again, thank you, Yena, for gifting me this. Days of Abandonment. I can't wait to read the rest of Ferrante's work with this. Number 10, a book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. What did I say? But if there is one, it's Fantasian by Larissa Pham, because it's a psychosexual, lesbian, erotic thriller with Asian Americans. Like, sold. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna say, because you just read it. It's erotica, BTW, and it's good. It's sexy, it's smart, has a wild end, and is done in so few pages. Yes, it's from the New Lovers series by Badlands Unlimited. Unfortunately, it has gone under. So again, good luck trying to find that. Number 11, a book that has your favorite characters. Slow Days, Fast Company, Eve Babbitt's. I want to be at every single table, at every bar, at every diner, at every restaurant that she frequents, and I just love her as a character. She loves tequila, I love tequila, we could do shots, we could tell stories, we can laugh, and that's a good time. Like, how can you not have Eve as your favorite character? I've yet to read Black Swans though. A lot of y'all seem to enjoy it, but I don't wanna retire the lavish lifestyle that she's lived, so I'm keeping up with her sexy time. But yeah, I'll get to it eventually. The cover's stunning, that's why. Number 12, a book you wish you could live in. Well, I'm currently doing a buddy read of this with Alex, if you want sneak peek info, but Call Me By Your Name, Andre Osman. More so the film than the book. I watched the film before I read the book, and I definitely loved the movie more than the book, but just to give an answer, yeah, just like summer Italy, the 80s. Just the atmosphere that Luca creates is just so stunning. Like, how can you not want to be at the breakfast table with freshly squeezed juice and coffee and eggs, and just like everything's just so lush and lavish, and the way light hits on every single building and body, and it's just, oof, beautifully done. But I wish I could live in that film. It's like ingrained in me that whenever I hear the word summer, that's the exact atmosphere that comes to mind. Luca Guadagnino's Call Me By Your Name world, but yes. Number 13, a book you thought you would hate, but ended up loving. So, I'm not a classics gal, and y'all were reading this major classic last year, and I was like, I want in on the fun. And it's Stoner, John Williams. Did this as a buddy read earlier in the year with Dren, and oh God, what an incredibly perfect novel, and a classic, a wonderful classic that I enjoyed. But you got this guy named Stoner that just goes through it all, and he's lived a life. And I often wonder, like, what is, you know, the unfulfilled life? Williams just creates this wonderful portrait of a person of teaching, but is constantly learning with all of the trials and tribulations that he undergoes as just this man, this boy, this person. And it's heartbreaking, some of the things he goes through, and such a beautiful end. But yeah, I've got to change my canon list and insert this one in. Yeah, I don't know. I think because also I started the year reading it, that it just sort of set the tone for my 2023 reading journey. So I give it many thanks for creating the course for this year. Number 14, a book that made you cry. The book that made me cry the most goes to A Little Life, Hanya Yanagihara. I read this when I first moved to San Francisco, and when I finished it, like, I also couldn't put it down, like, as much as I wanted to, because, like, I'd have to, like, take breaths and just be like, oh my God, that was way too much feeling, and I don't know if I can feel anymore. But by the end of the book, I was on the 22 bus heading up to Fillmore, and it was like the middle of the day, 3 p.m., hot, direct sunlight on the bus, and just like the ending of the book, finishing it on the bus, and this immense direct sunlight on me, I just couldn't help. Like, there's something just like happened in my body, and I just like started sobbing, like making ugly noises. I was ugly crying, ugly noises, and this woman sitting across from me, it was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And she like came to my side and was like trying to control me, and I couldn't. I was like almost like panic attacking, and eventually she like led me off the bus and just like sort of stood with me and like led me into a Starbucks and just like gave me some like tea and just like, yeah. And then I just like told her it was a book. When I told her it was the book, she literally rolled her eyes and just like left me. Yeah. But we'll say it was at the same Starbucks where, if anyone remembered a few videos ago of my bookshelf tour, this is the same Starbucks where I met that one barista that gifted me Sexing the Cherry by Jeanette Winterson. And it was because I cried about Yanagihara, A Little Life, that we developed this like incredible bond. The power of literature, let me tell you. But yeah, I know how people feel about that book, but like at such an incredibly impressionable time, and also like going through it all, you know, yeah, it wrecked me. That's an experience that I don't know, yeah, that I don't know how to express to anybody, especially when they hate the book, because it's just like, yeah. But I'm thinking of doing a rereading of it, because I've got a friend in Seoul. She recently got a Kindle, so is getting rid of a majority of her books, and I want her copy. I want her copy of A Little Life, and I might do a rereading of it. So we'll see, we'll see. Okay, last question, because I don't want this video to go on for too long. 15, a book you wish you could read for the first time. I had just moved back from France, and I was in probably one of the most important creative writing courses of my life, and I was assigned Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. We were supposed to read, I think, like the first half of the book in 2 weeks. I finished it in like 2 days because it was just so good, and there was a lot I was still learning about my identity, and I felt it. I felt it all. I felt exactly what I think James Baldwin was feeling, or I'd like to say that, as he left America for Paris. And yeah, it's just like, holy shit, this is like aligning so perfectly, and I wish I had this while I was in France. But you know, reading that and being in Baldwin's prose, and I guess wishing to read it for the first time again, because it happened at a very specific time in my life, a very transitional time. So I think, not to say that I want a redo of that moment, but books, again. I think it is Joyce Carol Oates that said, "What is the unfulfilled life?" It's either her or Flannery O'Connor. I forget. Someone fact check me. I'll fact check myself. I don't know. But that question comes to mind a lot whenever I read a book and glance at my own life and think, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. You really do think, like, what if I did it this way? What if I did it that way? What if I'd made a stronger choice? What if I hadn't made that choice at all? What if? And that begs for the very first time again sometimes. And I would like to relive the book, because I would like to have wanted to relive that very specific transitional moment in my life, just in a different way. Yeah, okay, I'm realizing this is a very personal video, so what a treat for y'all. Yes, a majority of these books you can find on my Nathan's Nook literary canon. Yeah, there's some goodies on that list, and 52 books that have created an immense impression on me. Yeah, so if you want to get to know me more, those are the books. Those are the books. And also it's a canon, which I believe must change constantly, so I should update it. Need to do that with Stoner and Days of Abandonment. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to me babble about my favorite books that I do not recommend, because they're just incredibly personal to me, and that's why I enjoyed them all. But I hope you find value in them if you do pick them up. And if you do pick them up, please let me know what you thought of them, because that's what this is. That's what we're here for. This is a booktube. This is a community. We love talking about books. Okay, love y'all. Be well, do good work, keep in touch.